Hey guys, Stealth here and welcome to Mars Horizon. It's been a while ago since I've featured a space game, whether it was getting to Mars and staying alive there, or whether it was Avorion. It has been a while, and now we're trying to get to Mars again in Mars Horizon. It's a game where you start in the 1950s. You start with an early space agency and it is your job to race the other space agencies to get milestones, whether it's launching a first satellite or setting first foot on the moon, to the ultimate objective, getting to Mars. I'm going to start a new game. I've played the game a bit. I'm not familiar with everything entirely. It's not possible because the game just came out yesterday on November 17th. So I'll have to improvise at some points. I will make mistakes, but I hope that I can still make it to Mars in time. New game. We have a couple of different agencies to pick from. We have the ESA, European Space Agency. This one gets a bonus of 50% rewards for joint missions. So that's nice. If you're working together with another agency, you get more rewards. Also, science income bonus from friendly and allied diplomatic relationships. I'll look into this in a bit. Explain what that does. Double chance of being offered joint missions. So it's very much about collaboration for the ESA. Makes sense because it is a group of 22 member states which are working together under the flag of one space agency. NASA. Very familiar probably, and it is, I think, one of the most well-known space agencies out there. Agency bonuses. Achieving a top 3 milestone rank grants double the support. America has to be the best at everything, and that includes getting to milestones first. 3 additional contractors available. This is something that you can research, and you have additional contractors as an option. I think this goes to show that the American side focuses a bit more on private corporations. Total astronaut recruit pool doubled, which is nice. Just more astronauts for your missions. The Soviet Union. Invalid launch windows become suboptimal launch windows. Now the game has times when it's not really a great time to launch. That's called an invalid launch window. The Soviet Union doesn't really care too much about that and turns it into a suboptimal launch window. So it is a time when you can launch, whatever it is that you're trying to get up to space. Might not be the best time to do it though. Less astronaut hiring cost and upkeep. I mean, Soviet Union, we have workers, we can do whatever the hell we want. No support penalty for failed missions. This is interesting because I would think that the Soviet Union doesn't like to lose face. But apparently, they don't care too much. China, the space program of the People's Republic of China, responsible for the planning and development of space activities. Minus 25% research costs for buildings. Minus 25% construction costs, so they are very much effective at getting additional buildings. Receive 100% of the first phase science rewards for failed launches. So they actually benefit from messing stuff up. Because you get a higher science reward for stuff that blows up, or that just fails to function. And then finally, Japan. Achieving a top 3 milestone rank grants you science bonus of up to 25%. So again, they want to be one of the top 3, much like the Americans. Achieving a top 3 milestone rank grants double support. These guys get bonus science. 25% funds reward for lucrative type request missions. This is a mission type that is not mandatory, but optional, and can get you some interesting rewards. All science-related building adjacency bonuses are doubled. Once you are a space agency, you have a base, and in that base you have buildings. Once buildings that are, let's say, associated with each other, like a vehicle assembly building and a launch pad, are side by side, they gain a bonus. And that is doubled, especially science-related for the Japanese. I'm going to pick NASA. Now you can customize your agency further. You can say what sort of appearance you want. I'm going to just stick with the standard flag. I'm going to stick with the standard name. You can have your headquarters as the Kennedy Space Center or any name of your choosing. We can have different traits. Now this is going to allow for a lot of customization. I'm currently going to stick to the standard ones, but just look at the list of stuff that you can pick from. There are ways that you can get, for example, payload proficiency and get more reliable rockets. You can say, oh crap, it's going to be more expensive, which is a -1, and then offset that with, for example, another +1 or even a +2. I'm going to stick to the ones that I have, which is the bidding war, that allows the additional contractors. For the glory, that's the one that I just explained, and the total astronaut pool. This one I'll change. What would be an interesting trait? Fortune favors the bold. Plus 10% chance of positive events in missions. I think that could align with the American attitude. Flexible working, no cost to moving buildings. Efficient construction, efficient assembly, efficient architecture. This is all building time stuff. Building time and building cost. Cut price cosmonauts. Commercial insights. I think commercial insights would align pretty well with the US. You also have backup systems. No, I'll stick with this one. Commercial insights. And then we have diplomacy. I am antagonistic against the United States. Sorry, not the United States, against the Soviet Union. Friendly with ESA, neutral with China, and neutral with Japan. And I'd say that's good enough. Tutorial, I will disable that. And for this difficulty, I'm going to stick to Pioneer. Start. Welcome, Director. The space race has begun. Staying ahead of the pack will require unprecedented feats of engineering and no shortage of daring. Your role is to develop our space program, leading us into orbit and beyond. Keep our agency at the forefront of space science and inspire generations to come with our triumphs. Humans will one day set foot on another planet. Make sure we get there first. Good luck, Director. Now, what are you looking at? Over here, top left, we have the research bar. I'm currently not actively researching anything, so let's change that right quick. You have 3 different trees: missions, buildings, and vehicles. Missions allow you to research the ability to do new missions. For one, I can do an artificial satellite. I can research that, as I already have the test launch mission. This goes all the way to getting your first animals into space, to getting a probe landed on the moon. If I understand it correctly, the first human in space. We can have a Mars flyby, we can have a multi-crew orbit, and all of these give you science rewards and support rewards. That's the stuff that you can see up here. These are the science rewards, so I can get additional science from just having a multi-crew in orbit, 1600 over 4 months. And that I can then use to invest either back into the research tree or into getting new buildings or new vehicles. The other thing that you get is support, a support reward. The higher your support, the more funding you get. And you do this by completing missions. So having a multi-crew in orbit is very much a high-end achievement. It is very prestigious and therefore generates a lot of support reward. By contrast, if you go for a Mars flyby, it generates 650 support. So this one, arguably, is fairly interesting as far as rewards go. The science reward for this one, however, is higher. So in this case, I could potentially go for more science rewards by doing a Mars flyby, depending on what I need at that particular point of my playthrough. Buildings allow you to upgrade your base. You start with an HQ and with a vehicle hangar. I don't even have a small launch pad yet, so let's start researching on that one. Otherwise, there's nothing to launch. Now, this fans out into an entire research tree, ranging from experimental research to a backup power generator, making sure that the payload build cost goes down, a PR office so that I can get greater support, which then again leads to more income per month, or sorry, per year, well, which then again translates into per month. And finally, we have spaceplane runways, we have deep space networks, and it ends with a docking training facility. Very, very expensive, and it takes an immense amount of research. Vehicles, well, we start with a simple sounding rocket. It's not really going to get anything into space, it is just designed for suborbital test flights. It's the very first thing that we just shoot upwards. And then you start to develop from 2 different sides at the same time. You want boosters, that's the first stage. And then you want an upper stage, which at some point will have some capacity to put something into orbit. Or even beyond orbit, and go to the moon, for example. In my case, I want to get a better booster. or, well, a booster for starters would be nice, and then a small upper stage, and then start to research, I think, any of these, so that I can start and get the early satellite into orbit. Now, the way that this works, these things all have various stats. They have a launch reliability, which means how likely are they to blow up during launch. This one has a 75% reliability, so the chance that it fails is not that bad. If you keep using these, the reliability goes up, reliability per level. Using an item more and more and more just makes sure that you get better quality of them. It's like you become more acquainted with the product and it performs better. And that works for both the boosters and the upper stages. Now the upper stages also have a capacity, these things too, but in a different way. The upper stage is what carries your payload. They have a capacity, this one, the Able, of 350 kilograms. They weigh 1,000 kilograms. That's the weight of the upper stage. So if I want to throw one of these things into space or into orbit, I want to make sure that this thing has a capacity of 1,000 or better. So this thing, the Algol, can carry the Able. But if I were to have, for example, a higher end upper stage, something like the Delta, I couldn't put that into space. It just wouldn't be able to take off with a standard booster in the Jupiter class or the Algol class because it doesn't have the capacity. So it's not like you can pick one side of the research tree and keep going down because you'll find that you just don't have the power to put those things into orbit. Alright, that's the research tree. Let's check out the base. This is our base. This is the Kennedy Space Center. There is not much to be seen, because we start out with the HQ and the vehicle hangar, and that is it. At the moment I cannot build anything else either, simply because I don't have any other buildings that I need, nor that I can currently build. So I don't really need to be paying too much attention to the base. What we have here is the diplomacy factor, and over here I can see what my relations are with the other space agencies. Over here it shows that my relationship with the USSR is not great. Antagonistic agencies, they boost your funding. It's because you want to do better than they are doing. So by getting additional funding in, you're sort of trying to outsmart them, trying to be better than them, and that will make sure that you get better funding. On the other hand of the spectrum, you have friendly relationships or even allies. They give you a science boost, and they're more likely to work together with you on joint missions. Now for each of these guys, I can propose joint missions, but I don't have a conference center yet, so that's something that'll have to wait. And probably the USSR wouldn't really be my first choice of a diplomatic partner. What else do we have? We have the Spacepedia, which is the wiki of the game, telling you everything you need to know. And then we have the mission planner, but that's not in yet because I don't have any active missions. So let's go into an active mission. Or rather, create one. Missions are divided into milestones and requests. I want to do, or rather I have to do, a test launch first. Before launching a payload into orbit, it's vital to test the agency's launch facilities with suborbital flights. These sounding rockets will carry an array of sensors and other experiments, but don't have the power to achieve orbit. The fine print, however, is that the sounding rockets are not very reliable. They have a tendency to blow up. Now, it's not necessarily a bad thing, because you can also learn stuff from having something blow up, but ideally you want to have a successful test launch. The faster you do this, the more of a reward you get, because this gives you a milestone rank. And the more milestones you achieve, the more support you generate. And especially for the US, who want to be the best, like the NASA perk that I picked, I ideally want to make sure that I achieve these milestones very quickly. It also gives me science, and it gives me more support. More support, again, ends up into having more funds. On the other tree, you have requests. Currently, I don't have any, because I haven't proven myself yet, so let's schedule a test flight. Plan the mission. Select vehicle. There's not that much to select, all I need to do is build a sounding rocket. If you are at a later stage of the game, you'll be able to get additional vehicles, like having a better upper stage or a better booster stage. And this will definitely change the launch reliability and capabilities of your rocket. In my case, I have no capacity to get anything into space because it's a suborbital rocket. It's not supposed to bring anything into space at all. It has no lift capability. It's supposed to be launched from a small launch pad, and the launch reliability is atrocious. The chance that this thing blows up is fairly high, and that's not great. But hey, it's a start. We all have to start somewhere, and if we blow it up, we blow it up. It is expensive. It takes 2 months to build, and it's going to cost me 80,000 out of my 100,000 budget. Fortunately, I get 53,000 a month. So if this thing blows up, I'll be able to get another one pretty quick. Now, if everything's correct, I can have the Seraphic. That's the name of this first one. I have my construction report. And there is an unrevealed trait that will be delivered, or rather revealed, once I have the mission or the vehicle built. So I'm going to click Build Vehicle, and it's going to be completed in March 1957. Beyond this, there's not that much that I need to do. I just need to wait until my small launch pad is done, so I can build that and then have a launch platform for the Seraphic. Let's go to the next month. There we go. Research complete. The small launch pad is now ready, so I can now go into my base, and I can now get a small launch pad. Allows the launch of small vehicles. Launch pads are an essential service structure for launch vehicles, allowing maintenance work and providing data about the vehicle launch, or about the vehicle ahead of launch. There are various spots where I can put this. I can put it anywhere I like, insofar as there's no obstruction, because then I'm paying extra. If you place this next to the vehicle assembly building that I have, I get a bonus. I get a plus, and this means that I have less vehicle build time by 2%. If I place it next to the HQ, it means that the payload is going to be less reliable, so that's not really something that I want to do. So I'm going to place it here and make sure that I only get the vehicle build bonus time. Alright, we're going to let that proceed and set a new research. Let's start with the upper stage, the Viking. It's going to take 150 research, which is a little over a month. Alright, next month. Small launch pad is complete. Very good. So the launch pad's complete, and the test vehicle is also complete. Let's get this thing into orbit. Our engineers managed to optimize the vehicle's attitude control systems, which will improve launch stability. Excellent, that's plus 5%. That's already quite a bit better than the 25% launch reliability that it started with. Let's move on and prepare the launch. Now, what I can do here is not much. Normally, I would have a crew, and this one is uncrewed. It's just a simple rocket. There's also no training to be done, and all I need to do is set a launch date. When are we going to throw this thing up? Now this right here is where I run into trouble, because I'm colorblind. I can see that there's a difference between optimal and suboptimal, but the contrast here isn't good enough. So what I want to do is go into the menu and see if there's an option that can help me. And I'm afraid not. Disable screen effects, disable payload particle effects, display, general. Yeah, no. I would really like to see a mode where I can see bigger contrasts, because right now it is difficult for me. I think that April is a fairly good launch date, but this sucks. This is not good enough for me. So I might at some point, and unfortunately she's asleep right now, but I would normally ask my wife, hey, what's the best launch date? I don't want to have to ask somebody else. So if you're colorblind, good luck playing this game. Let's see. The other agencies are still researching, so they're not currently working towards a launch yet. Well, they're working towards a launch, but the question is when. If I'm interpreting this correctly, I'd say May, as the lightest color, is the most ideal time for me to launch. There we go. That's an optimal launch date, plus 30% reliability. I'll take that. We're going to set this thing to launch in May. Confirm mission setup, and we can go to the solar system and pretty much wait. Also, the Viking research is almost complete. Let's continue the next month. There we go. Done. We have reached Era 1, the dawn of spaceflight. As rocket technology advances, so does the prospect of exploring beyond the confines of our planet. Yet the public continues to question whether the fledgling agencies can overcome the dangers of spaceflight. We have unlocked the moon, and with the moon, now we can get additional missions. It's going to take me a while, because I first need to research lunar orbit, Pioneer, and they recommend several parts of the research tree as far as vehicles go. This will be stage 1. Stage 2, a crewed moon landing. It's going to get me a lot of research and a lot of support, but it's also going to take a lot of research to get there. So this is more of a long-term plan. Something else that I would want to get early on is a research lab. Initially, it doesn't help you that much, but once you get, for example, this one, you get additional 50 research per month. And I think that the earlier you can get this, the better it'll be. So I'm going to get the research lab. It's going to take me, let's see, 2.5 months-ish to get this thing researched. And we are waiting for the test launch, which will happen next month. And there it is. The test launch, May 1957. The optimal date, there's no training. We have launch preparations, which means we have another 30% bonus. I think we can launch. And I'm currently leading. I am currently the leader for this particular challenge, this milestone. Now, you don't actually have any control over the rocket once it gets launched. It's not Kerbal Space Program. You're just here to manage the programs, manage the projects, manage the research. You don't actually get to fly this thing, at least not as far as I've seen. Now, excellent conditions, very nice. Weather conditions on the launch date can both reduce and improve the launch reliability. If conditions are sufficiently poor, it may be worth rescheduling to another month. I'm not sure if you guys happen to follow along with SpaceX missions, but it happens frequently that they're streaming these things and they go, nope, at the last moment we're going to cancel it because the conditions are not good enough. In this case, I'd say they're pretty decent. I have a 40% launch reliability, which means that I have a 15% chance of a critical failure, 45% chance of a negative event, and about a 30% chance for a launch, and even a 10% chance for a positive effect. So, let's go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have liftoff.
We have liftoff, but let's hope it doesn't blow up halfway on the way there. Oh! Uh-oh. Yeah, about that. Not great. The following event occurred during launch. Engine failure. The vehicle was destroyed. At only 4% of its flight. Oh, that's not great. Okay, we need to do this again. But there is a bonus to having a launch. The sounding rocket now gains 15% reliability. Because I've launched it once, the engineers can now make some changes. They can now figure out what went wrong and make sure it doesn't happen again. That was not a very successful launch. Mission failed. Not the end of the world. Missions will fail. Now, the Soviet Union is launching in 7 months. Japan in 3. China in 4. And ESA in 3. So, ideally, I would quickly make sure that I get another shot at this. I want to do that mission again. Test launch and plan mission. Select the same vehicle. Sounding rocket. We're going to build it again. And this time around it has a base reliability of 40%. Build the vehicle. It'll be complete in 2 months. Okay. Next month. Rocket science. After analyzing data from our recently failed test launch, researchers have identified several improvements that can be made to our booster technology. Sometimes we learn more when the thing blows up. Or when the things blow up. A particularly enthusiastic engineer commented. You gain 150 science. That's nice because it immediately completes my research lab. Okay, that's one phase done. I think I'll also benefit from having a rocket test pad. I can then use the mission training, which you normally don't have for an unscheduled or an unmanned mission, but this time you will get it. Launch reliability. If I can improve that more, I will definitely benefit. So let's get this thing researched. In the meanwhile, I'll start working on the base, since I should have enough money to build a research lab. Provided that there's not too much in the way. Because these things do take up a fair amount of space. Minus 2% vehicle build costs. Minus 10 research per month. Right, so if you place them right next to the launch pad, they don't like it. Because the brainiacs will get distracted. If I park it over here, I'll get minus 2% vehicle build time and minus 3% build of payload. Payload build cost. That's good. Let's place it here. I have just about enough money for that. It's going to take me a few months to build. Alright, next month. Rocket test pad research complete. Okay, so I can now build that, but I'm not sure if I can afford it. Okay, let's prepare the launch of the Constitution sounding rocket. Not much to do here. All I need to do is again set a launch date. Not great. Not great at all. It looks like the USSR is working on 2. I'm gonna pick November. Yeah, see, okay. I just need to look at what it says here. Launch window. So this is suboptimal. To minus 20% launch reliability. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna go for an optimal launch date, which means I have to wait several months and hope that these guys don't cut me off. Confirm. It's gonna take me 4 months. Okay, so be it. China is launching next month. Let's hope that they don't have a success. Let's get some new research going. Spacecraft assembly facility unlocks payload reliability. Provides a clean room environment to aid the development of complex mission payloads. Not really what I want to do just yet. I first want to get another booster researched. This is the booster Vanguard. Next month. Vanguard research complete. Good. Next. This is where I can pick, well, one or both. I can have the Algol or the Jupiter. The Jupiter has a launch reliability of 75%. It's going to cost me 127,000 if I want to build one. This one has a launch reliability of 65%, but costs only 64,000. So that is a significant difference in build cost. But you're also paying for it in launch reliability. If this thing blows up, then I'm losing the cash, but it's not that much. Whereas with this one, I'm paying twice the price, but the launch reliability is better. Let's go for the Jupiter. And beyond this, there's currently not that much that I need to do next month. Research lab complete. Good. I can now get mission training science, which will increase the rewards that I get from a particular mission. China failed to launch test launch. Okay. Well, one man's failure is another man's success. This actually benefits me, because I now have another shot at getting that test launch done. Let's get some more research done. I'm not going to research the Algol, but I will research the upper stage for the Jupiter. This thing has a reliability of 65%. Oh, actually, Able might be a little better. But look at the price, 122,000. 98, 49. Reliability, 40%. Reliability per level for this one goes up 4% every time that you get another level. So that you use it to bring something into space. Interesting. This one only gets 1%. This one gets 5% per level. Okay. Let's go with the Able one, because it has the highest launch reliability. Alright, here's the test launch. Optimal date, no training set, correct. Launch preparation plus 40%. Here we go. Let's see if I can get this thing successful now. We're launching during daytime. With the more reliable rocket, sounding rocket. I thought there were a hell of a lot more trees in my base. Oh well. Now we're going to launch the Constitution. 43% launch reliability. Wow. This inspires great confidence. But hey ho, here we go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And off we go.
We have liftoff.
Don't blow up. Complete your mission. Doesn't look too bad. How did that go? Whoa! 99% smooth takeoff, plus 50% mission reward. We did it! Mission complete. Sounding rocket increased to level 2, which gives it another 15% reliability. Now, we completed the milestone, but as the third. So that gives me a bit more support and 375 research for 1 month, as a bonus to the 112 that I'm usually getting. So I now have, temporarily, a research of 495. That is really good. Alright, with this I'm going to end this first episode of this new game. I really like what Mars Horizon has to offer. I think it can make an interesting playthrough. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. In the description you can find the game. It is available on Steam and it's actually cheaper than I had expected. I believe it was only 16 euro something, or about probably 20 bucks. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments, and I shall see you soon for another episode of Mars Horizon.